Good evening, everyone. I am Eliza Jane Vargas from BEd 3A, and for the topic for this evening, our topic is all about the authentic art assessment. Authentic art assessment. So, what is authentic art or authentic? So, it is disputed origin or genuine. The expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting, sculpture, producing works, or emotional power. The various branches of creative activity such as painting, music, literature, and dance. So what is assessment? When you say assessment, it is the evaluation or estimation of the nature, quality, or ability of someone or something. It is about collecting information about the student performance through real-life tasks. This is a student's performance through the creation, presentation, and reflection of music and visual arts. Also, an ability to play music, draw, or perform. So there are 4 parts of authentic assessment. So first is the define what art skills means for your program. Art skills are more than just the ability of a student to create works of art. So you're gonna define as a teacher of what means or what skills of the individual students they have in your activity that given to them. Second is to create the tools to look at student work using the rubrics, which are a type of rating scale which each step on the scale is well defined. So the student will be given a rubrics presented by the teachers. The teacher or the instructor will be presenting or showing their rubrics and recite or tell to them what are the contents of the rubric, so that they will have the idea of what artwork to create, what imaginative or the artistic idea they will create and produce in their artwork or the task given by you, educator. The third one is to create and collect artifacts of student work. When we say artifacts, this is the other assessment, the portfolio assessment, where the students production or the outputs, papers will be gathered and will be collect, and this is the base of or where you will teacher base the scores or the grades you will give to them. So under by this, it has a 3 categories of evidence include in portfolio. The first one is the process items, which show a student's creative process when they are working on it or the working of the artwork they are creating. This is the first process items they will show or we will gonna be seen the student's creative process. Second is the performance or product items, which show art that a student has created. The production or the art that they will produce or they will perform is what we call the performance. The third one is the reflection items, which show how a student thinks about the work that they do. So the portfolio and the gathered outputs of or by them, by the students, you will return it at the end of the semester of the or the end of the quarter, and you will let them reflect of their production or their artwork that they will produce if they enhance or they develop more of their ability and skills or they are not. So the next is use the tools you have create to assess student work. This step depends on which tool you use to assess student work. And then there are the classifications of visual arts. First is the painting. So, the painting is an image or artwork used by the pigments on a surface and such as paper or canvas. The pigments may be a wet form such as paint or a day form such as pastels. Most of the time, in a school program, they have their painting, which is commonly used by or the students create through the pastel or the pastel art making contest. So it is an expression also of your emotions. You can express your emotion or mood or feelings through the painting. Next is the drawing. So drawing are created by making lines on a surface. Long lines make up the shape and small lines make the texture. Drawing can be image or real life or abstract image showing ideas that cannot be seen in a real world. So this drawing started with the different lines. It's either horizontal, it's either a dot, or any other form of lines you can make or shapes that can be create a drawing or an artwork of a
Carving. One of the oldest types of art is carving. Carving is an art form common to all cultures. The figure work seems to have been universal. To carve a figure design in wood may be not only more difficult but also less satisfactorily than sculpting with marble due to the tendency of wood to crack, to be damaged by insects, or to suffer from changes in the atmosphere. The textures of the materials too often proves challenging to expression of features, especially in the classic type of youthful face. On the other hand, magnificent is the example exists of more solid feature of each. The rush brush, the layers, and lines neutralizing the defects of the grain of the wood. In ancient work, the surface may not be of such consequences, for figures as a rule being painted for protection and especially the color. Next, the sculpture. Sculpture is a piece of art that created by shaping various kind of materials. Among the most popular are stone, steel, plastics, ceramics, and woods. Sculpture is often referred to as plastic arts. Sculpture goes back to the ancient Greece. It has been important in various religions in the world over many centuries. In the Renaissance, Michelangelo was one of the masters of the arts. His most famous piece of work was David, a marble statue of a naked man. Mixed media art refers to a visual art form that combines a variety of media in a single artwork. For example, if you draw with ink, then paint over it with watercolors, then add some highlights in colored pencils. That is mixed media art. Learn how to combine color and color pencils in this fun mixed media tutorial. If you want to see more the mixed media art, you can search at the Google or YouTube. How to create a media or mixed media art animals portrait. The mixed media lessons also shows you how to make your own graphite paper, how to use masking fluid, and much more. Mixed media art is a fun because it takes so many forms. Below, you can see a variety of artworks that I create using mixed media. Most of these pieces include a few of the following: acrylics, watercolors, watercolor pencils, colored pencils. Mixed media art is the use of variety of media in a work of art. So, in our camp, we try to take mediums from different artistic areas and give our exposure to a variety of learning and skill building, working with a combination of the different visual artistic mediums in a successful art pieces. Take some or look example of project from past mixed media comes below. Fine arts is intended to create beauty and pleasure in looking, while applied art is intended to be an aesthetic approach to performing a specific duty. The fine arts are traditionally limited to three visual arts, which are painting, sculpture, and architecture. However, broader interpretation of the fine arts would expand to include drawing. The drawing of the master are considered fine art under standard, even if they are prior to painting or three-dimensional art form. Generally speaking, fine arts can be described as art in which objects are designed or created in order to be used rather than simply to be viewed. Mosaic are pieces of art that is composed of many tiny pieces of glass or tile. To make a decorative object into a mosaic, you can tile the surface, much like you would a backsplash. From afar, mosaic art with an impressive lineup of colors and patterns. Up close, the difficulty involved are exposed, and you can see how much time and effort most have gone into creating the artwork. Mosaic is art made by placing colored pieces such as stone, glass, or tile into a design and then setting the design in mortar. Tapestry is one of the oldest forms of woven textile. As a technique, tapestry has been used to create everything from cloth and forces the table covers and chair backs, as well as some of the world's largest and most beautiful pieces of textiles art. Photography, making picture by letting light through the lenses of the camera onto a film. In analog photography, light was recorded onto a film, which had to be chemically developed. Images could then be printed onto special paper. Today, most photography is digital. Cameras have no film. The images are recorded into silicon clips. Example: something that is created with imagination and skill, and that is beautiful or that expresses important ideas or a feelings. Videography refers to the process of capturing moving image on electronic media and even streaming media. Nowadays, any video work could be called videography, whereas commercial motion picture production would be called cinematography. A videographer is a person who works in the field of videography and or video production. News broadcasting relies heavily on live television, where videographers engage in electronic news gathering of local news stories.